This week in Jamaica Now. 6-year-old boy shot dead in Westmoreland. His teenage cousin is now in custody for the murder. Manchester woman shot in dramatic attack after a taxi operator and his passenger are abducted. Police make $17 million Ganja bust in Portland. Bustamante Hospital yet to complete arrangements to receive $100 million in equipment from Shaggy and Friends Foundation. How government MPs sought to pressure the Auditor General to name a reporter with whom she spoke.
I generally do not provide information at the committee when names are asked. If the member wants to know, then I guess a letter can be written and I'll provide the information.
Why airlines could start weighing passengers before flights. And Beenie Man fined $150,000 for COVID rule breach. I'm Damian Mitchell, and this is Jamaica Now. A 15-year-old Westmoreland boy has now been charged with the murder of his 6-year-old cousin. Little Jadane Miller, who lived in the same yard as the accused, was shot dead in their yard. The police say about 2:30 on Monday, young Jadane was standing inside his yard at Harmony Hall in Westmoreland when he was approached by his teenage cousin, who had a handgun. Further reports are that the teen opened fire, hitting Jadane to the left side of his back. He walked away with the weapon in his hand and fled the scene. The wounded boy was assisted to hospital by relatives and died while being treated. The shooter later surrendered to the police. Up to May 12, Westmoreland had recorded a 19% increase in homicides this year, with 32 murders compared with 27 for the corresponding period in 2020. In Manchester, a woman is now recovering from gunshot wounds following a dramatic series of crimes that began with the abduction of a taxi operator and his passenger in the parish capital Mandeville on Friday night. The police reported that sometime before 8 o'clock, 3 men approached a taxi operator in Mandeville and asked him to take them to Mayday. The driver already had 1 passenger. The 3 men boarded the white Toyota taxi and the vehicle drove off. During the journey, the 3 men reportedly pulled guns and directed the taxi operator to head towards Christiana. The police say the 3 gunmen stopped in the community of Shudley, took out the driver and his passenger, and tied them up in bushes. One of the gunmen kept watch on the cabbie and his passenger, while the other 2 left with the taxi. Around 5 o'clock Saturday morning, a butcher and a woman were traveling in his truck towards Christiana to buy cows when he noticed a white car driving behind him along Penhill. It is reported that on reaching Walderston, the car overtook the truck, pulled over and signaled the truck driver to stop. However, the truck driver did not stop. That's when the white car gave chase and its occupants opened fire at the truck, puncturing one of the tires. The men subsequently overtook the truck and fired more shots into it, hitting a woman on her breast and arm before speeding away. The butcher then drove to a nearby gas station and abandoned the truck before he and the injured woman ran into nearby bushes. It is reported that the gunmen soon returned and stole the woman's handbag from the truck. The gunmen then went back to the location where the taxi operator and his passenger were tied up, released them and returned the car. The taxi driver and the passenger immediately drove to the Williamsfield police and reported the matter. The police this week seized more than 7,000 pounds of ganja in Bryan's Bay, Portland. According to the police, the drug had an estimated street value of $17 million. Commanding officer for the Portland Police Division, Superintendent Dwayne Wellington, said the development is significant. He also said it is believed that the drug was destined for Haiti. A provision in Jamaica's charity laws has left the $100 million raised 3 years ago through the Shaggy and Friends concert in limbo. The 2018 event, which featured several top international stars, was used to solicit donations to purchase beds for the intensive care unit at the Bustamante Hospital for Children. Since then, however, the money has been sitting in an interest-generating bank account because the hospital at the time did not have the space to accommodate the ICU beds. The Bustamante Hospital is now preparing to make a formal request for a change of use for the funds so that it can be used to purchase equipment for proposed new wards. Section 30 of the legislation bars charitable organizations from diverting donations made for specific causes to other purposes. Government members of a parliamentary oversight committee on Tuesday piqued interest when they insisted that Auditor General Pamela Monroe-Ellis divulge the name of a Gleaner journalist who contacted her. The reporter had contacted the Auditor General to confirm a date of an exit interview her department attended in January last year. Despite unyielding pressure on Monroe-Ellis to name the reporter, she said she would not break from tradition and name any person during a committee meeting.
If the member wants to know, then I guess a letter can be written and I'll provide the information. But as I say too, I believe that you can also contact the Jamaica Gleaner for that information.
Parliament supersedes all court. This is a final court. And when members that are employed to Parliament is brought before Parliament to answer question, we expect to get the answer. When Madam Auditor General is going to say if a letter is written, then she will find it necessary to answer. Cannot sit. He can't sit.
The MPs were trying to determine whether the Auditor General had declined to tell PAC members her whereabouts on the date she missed the exit interview for an audit of her department, but revealed it to the Gleaner. A new report suggests that airline passengers may be required to weigh at the airport or share how much they weigh before boarding a flight. According to an advisor from the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, airlines could be asked to start updating average airline passenger weight to account for increases in the average weight of American adults. The weighing of passengers, according to the FAA, would set standard average passenger weights for crew members, baggage, and passengers every 36 months. FAA advisory noted that surveying would be random and voluntary, with passengers able to refuse. A group of doctors have renewed their call for the use of the parasitic drug Ivermectin in the fight against COVID-19 in Jamaica. The group has written an open letter to Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton and his technocrats, urging them to allow doctors at their discretion to consider introducing the drug as a coronavirus treatment. Tufton has repeatedly stated that Jamaica would not approve the drug in this regard because the government believes that its safety and efficacy for treating COVID-19 needs better research. But the doctors disagree with this stance, arguing that new studies have shown that ivermectin is an effective tool at the early stage of the diagnosis of COVID. The doctors argue that the drug is needed for Jamaica's COVID-19 response, given the low vaccination rate and the real threat of viral variants, with another wave of infections looming. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, subscribe today, and turn on your notifications. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, dancehall artist Beenie Man was this week fined $150,000 for breaching the COVID rules for a party in St. Elizabeth last year. He spoke with the Gleaner after the court ended.
One of the greatest thing is, remember the music charge drop, but remember them charge me for the gathering. And you can't fight about the gathering. Because people actually did it. You see it? And then you cook your food, and then the people them dead there and the police them come. And the man say, smell the pretty good there. But now go left. So, yeah, police them kind of feel away. So them charge me for the gathering. So, we are fine. Yeah, and case done.
I believe it's reasonable. Let's remember that at the time of the alleged offense, the act had not yet been amended to increase the fine now to $1 million. Right. And I hope people remember that. Yes. So the maximum at the time of the alleged offense would have been about $250,000. Right. So $150,000 shows that the court took some form of leniency, having regard to his conduct. You see? And the fact that he, I believe in an earlier interview, indicated that no one is above the law, and he took a certain course of action because he's not above the law. I think the court appreciates it. And this is important, and I'm happy for him that it's now behind him.